Our statement on equity is grounded by 3 process goals.
Acknowledgement.
Modeling through action.
Fueling the progress.
Acknowledgement means that we must acknowledge that privilege and access are granted unequally.
We must acknowledge that equity is critical to the long-term viability of New Orleans.
We must acknowledge that the sheer presence of our work
challenges inequities and encourages alternatives.
What do we mean by equity?
Equity is a civil and human right
and a collective responsibility
to ensure that all of a society's shared resources,
collective wealth, economy, and institutions
can be accessed equally
by all of its members,
regardless of our circumstances at birth.
Equity requires recognizing the role of
histories of inequity
in shaping our society
and actively addressing the ongoing effects of those legacies,
as well as working to dismantle barriers
to opportunity, access, and inclusion. Equity is centered
in the fairness with which impacts,
both benefits and costs, are distributed,
and whether that distribution is both in fact and considered
fair and appropriate.
How are we making decisions that are enacting
an equity process and facilitating
our equity goals?
Because equity must be a central consideration at each level and stage of a process in order to be realized in the product,
we have collectively developed questions to inform
a decision-making framework.
Structuring.
Is our local host community
equipped to represent, understand,
and learn from all of our communities?
How are we recruiting non-traditional leaders?
How do they participate?
What do individuals and communities not yet at the table
need to feel included?
Planning.
How are we ensuring
that our actions are creating access
and benefits without barriers?
How do we create
a reciprocal value proposition?
How do we create value for our local community and conference participants?
How can resources be steered
to the most disadvantaged
at each stage in our process?
Scaffolding.
How do we elevate
stories and issues
without exploiting marginalized communities?
How are we identifying
and steering resources to support the longer-term needs identified by our community?
How can we support
ongoing projects and organizations, connect funders
and supporters through localized skill sharing,
and be stewards for long-term opportunity, all within the conference framework?
How do we ensure
that the lessons, framing, and message of this conference
spill out into the decisions that are made in New Orleans?
I've biked most of my life, and it kind of instilled a sense of freedom in me, to just be able to hop on a bike and go.
I bike for a lot of reasons, I guess. I'm like pretty environmentally conscious, so I'd prefer to not use a vehicle if I don't have to. It's nice to just be outside too, man. So many people spend their days entirely inside, and if you were just biking everywhere you went to, you'd probably be in a better mood.
It's the way to go, man. Riding a bike is freedom.
We're trying to get more people on bikes. People would be healthier, less traffic, less pollution.
Education, education, education.
The people need to be educated that they have to share the road.
And we also have to educate the police and the sheriff's offices around the state.
Let's get people to understand and to know the process of making our streets built to share.
Just being able to tell people, that my commute matters makes people more willing to commit to bike lanes and traffic calming.
Everything was designed with the cars holding dominion for travel. And it's no consideration for pedestrians or cyclists, disabled.
For women commuting, it's all of the concerns of being a woman in public. It's all of the concerns of being queer in public. And is a car gonna hit us?
People can be very cruel, and they'll blow their horns at you or try to run over you. But it's one of the things you have to put up with riding in New Orleans.
The Greenway is awesome. When I was living in Mid-City, I used it all the time. So it'd be really great to have a crossways Greenway that, would get people from one edge of the city to the other instead of just going straight through the middle of it.
Even local grocery stores and things like that, where you can get to those without having to hop in your car. Those things mean a lot. They make for a healthier population, and in general, studies have shown by putting in better bike lanes, you actually save about $2,000 per person.
I want things to be better for the future, for my nephew, for my friends' kids. You know, some people don't care past their lifetime, but I can't help but care.
Like, I've traveled in a couple of foreign countries, and I see the infrastructure they have for cycling, and it just makes the city so livable and beautiful, actually. And I think we could do that here. I mean, I kind of see that as the city of the future, but there's a lot of work to be done.
It's just a matter of time.